Boom! I'm live again with Trevor. Trevor, welcome.
What's up, guys? Good to see everyone again.
Woohoo! I'm wearing my little boonie hat with some Spider-Man manga shirt action. Let's see, what do you got on there?
Same Aloha shirts. It's basically 90% of my attire.
Love it. Love it. Let's see. So first of all, and then we'll do a little roll call on who's here. But this is, again, the 2021 most anticipated games. Does not have to be war games. Both of us leaned a little bit that way. But this will be the fans portion. And Trevor, again, has done a beautiful little PowerPoint. And I couldn't get it to load on my side, but he's got it. So we'll be visually showing these as we go. And it looks good. And we had a lot of positive comments on that. Ron Nicholson is saying it is Alamo Day. Excellent. Very cool.
I don't know anything about Alamo Day.
I don't either. Someone was just talking to me, though, about Davy Crockett. I think it was my sister. She came into town.
Is that
explain
Alamo Day like when it started or when it ended or what?
Has to be when it ended because it's all about remember the Alamo. I bet you that's when it fell. But correct me if I'm wrong, Ron.
Well, it might be like D-Day where they went back in and that's where they started the Remember the Alamo.
Very true. Very, very true. Let's see. We need
an update, Ron.
All right. We got Timon is in, and he was in here. I think he was in here 2 hours early when I came in. He was already sitting there ready. Matt Curiosities is in. And if anybody wants to get some great history, it was like a surprise nugget. Matt was a guest host, and when we came on, we did 1 hour-ish games. You can go look at that. It's got the little 1 hour like symbol. But if you go to the yellow one was or the red one was our first one, and then there's a black one. That's the fans listing. But in that episode, Matt treats us with like a tour de force of the conventions when they began or as they started. I was enraptured there, Matt. I mean, I think a lot of fans were like, well, that was cool.
Yeah,
So that was really fun. I was like, wow, I was just like, this is great. I know we got to get to the topic, but I'm loving what we're doing here. So Matt's
it was funny. Looking at his list was because, especially here in California, we're starting to be allowed to travel and everything. So I'm like, man, that his whole list was a travel list as well. So it was like double good. I liked it, Matt.
Yeah, Matt did great. Let's see. We'll come down. So Ron is in from Colorado Springs, and I think Ron might be even moving soon. I love Colorado Springs. I was hoping to go hike Pikes Peak again and look him up, but I know you may be moving, Ron, and that is good too. So you go wherever you. Oh, we got Magnus is in. Hello's from Sweden. It's Magnus here. I have some hopes. There's been some chit chat on the whiskey side from distillers that they may arrange some more stuff that me and my Scotch partner got to go out and film in some different European countries. And if I ever get into Sweden, I've got to do some board game link ups. That would be awesome.
I think that's the next HAMTAG will be live in person with Magnus from Sweden.
Oh my gosh, that would be awesome. So we'll see. I can be the
funnest fans you met while gaming.
That's right. Yeah, I'll need to take like a picture of the set but have that as my green screen, and then all of a sudden, boom, Magnus is on there. But like, he traveled to the States. I'm like, nope, I'm on the road, baby. On the road. We've got Beat Cafe. Hi everyone. I'm gonna make my screen a little bit bigger, hopefully. I am running things a little bit differently. I'm using my laptop camera, as most people can probably tell. I'm still having weird issues with my dedicated live camera, and I don't know what it is. But this looked just fine, and I thought, we'll focus on the Spider-Man shirt. What has Timon got here? Chief, I asked a question of Matt the Greek in comments. He answered and asked for further info. Now, maybe I should have pre-read this. I wasn't comfortable passing that info over. Well, now what am I doing here? I posted my email. YouTube may have my answer. It may have Timon, or you'd be surprised the stuff I get across. And then I was just telling Trevor, I'm getting all these warnings that my Gmail account is almost full, and I need to clear stuff out. So I'll have to look. But my work week was pretty busy as well. Unfortunately, violent crimes are up in my area, and that means my captain is looking for resolution. And my community policing team, although we're not the tip of the spear, that's our special team that does stuff. We do a lot of community stuff and try to make sure we're working both sides of the problem. So I've been rather busy. Let's see. What do we got here? Let me read. Who else in here? Ron. Okay.
Bart, you can have a Timon just email you, and you can give them your email.
Yes. Yeah,
And
we
then
can do a roundabout.
Tell him you'll read it if he comes on and does a HAMTAG video.
Love it. That is perfect. All right, let's see. Nathaniel is saying, hi, Bart and Trevor. We'll move through a little bit quicker so we can get into it. Anthony Salvaggio. I messed that up, and I know he gave me a mnemonic even. I know Trevor's
DiMaggio,
like DiMaggio, Salvaggio. See, there was my mnemonic, and I'm going to keep blowing that. Matt knows. Matt has suffered through me not doing the Greek proper. I love that, though. Trevor's got a little bit not ashamed. Like, you're terrible.
It's baseball related, so we're good.
Yes. DiMaggio, Salvaggio. Now I've got it. John Connor is in. He's in like Flynn. Hold on. We're going to just, boom. There we go. All right. Sweden. Magnus is saying, excellent. If I can come to Sweden, that would be great.
There you
go. Let's see who else is in. And then we'll go. Oh, dang it. It jumped on me. Oh, Zhao. And I know I say it wrong. Viegas. Hello, guys. What's he saying here? He can't watch live today, but I'll do it later. It's his birthday. Well, happy birthday. And the kids are mega excited. Toddler party mode. Sweet. Okay. That is awesome. Jeff White is in. Oh, from Ireland. Well, great. Jeff, I was in Waterford in 2019. They flew us in to do some filming at the distillery down in Waterford. It used to be a Guinness distillery.
Your Euro trip is just getting better. You got Sweden and now Ireland.
Oh, it'd be great. And I think Waterford will have us back at some point in time too. A little sidebar deal. I know this is the board game side, but when we went to Waterford to film whiskey for a week, they said anything you want to do a little bit different. Waterford's doing a whole terroir thing. They've contracted with 40 farmers. They're growing the barley right there in Scotland. They're not sourcing it from around the world or anything, and they're separating the farms, sometimes even the fields, as they distill to see if there's this terroir based on the land, the type of farm, the organic farm. And when we were out there, there was. But I said, I want to meet a farmer. We want to film and meet a farmer.
Nice.
They had us. We drove like an hour and a half. We go meet Seamus Duggan. And Seamus was awesome. We had a ball. And we did a little tasting thing. Seamus's wife had made these scones with homemade jam. It was like a dream. So sorry, Jeff. I just went off on my Irish story.
I'm sure you sharing about Ireland's not going to offend anyone. I don't know anybody who's not wants to hear, whiskey or, bourbon stories.
Sure. Yeah, hanging out with Seamus was just a blast. We had so much fun. It was the kind of thing that if you went to Ireland, you're not going to experience going to a farmer's farmhouse and having him treat you for half a day along with the distillery. So what is he saying here? Glad you enjoyed Waterford. Great Viking city. That's what they were saying. Apparently that's like as far as the Vikings sailed up, made a little camp there, did their thing.
Nice.
So, all right, let's see. YouTube is not with me tonight. Huh. All right, well, let's get into our fans list. Well, before we start though, so Trevor, what have you been playing? What do you got on the table?
So I have two. So the kids and I were playing this the other night. It's an old card game, Guillotine.
Cutting off the heads.
Yeah. We're learning about what we do to French nobles. Yeah, I mean, I've had that forever. I think it's like Richard Garfield's best design. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm a Magic player, and Richard Garfield's like close to my heart. And then this is actually, I was just clipping the counters, but this is going to be on the table later today. I just wanted to do some, Pacific War action. So, and then in magnificent style has been on and off the table for the last couple of weeks because I just can't get enough of that. What about you?
Well, let's see. Play wise, I'm just starting to get. I'd read all the rules for the last 100 yards, the airborne expansion, or it's a standalone, but it's coming out on the table, so I can get it played. It's, I'm into tactical. I lean tactical, and what's nice is this is a little bit different tactical system. So, not to go too deep, but the idea is all about having the initiative. So the group that has, or the side that has the initiative, drives the action with the opponent, just responding based on line of sight issues. So that's an interesting factor in there that definitely does it up different. So no gameplay yet, but just reading through, I was like, that's interesting. And a lot more, the rules even tell you, hey, mortars are a bigger deal in this game, and they are in real life. So that'll be interesting as well to see how those two things kind of mesh in there. And it's nice to see, a lot of tactical games, a lot of it comes down to the minutia of, what part are we abstracting here? Or are we going deep into the glacis, angle of the T-34 versus the Panther or whatnot? So this is interesting because this is actually more about that. Well, the initiative is really one of the big things. So that'll be cool. And then Trafalgar Editions out of Spain. I'll say his last name wrong. Cristano, who's the designer of the Trafalgar 1805, the first game I got from him. And I love wooden ships. Well, Wooden Ships and Iron Men was my first in that genre, and I love the sailing ships. I've toured the Constellation, just walked around the outside of the Constitution. Well, they got a hold of me and said, hey, we kind of did an expansion on that. This will cover some of the battles with the Constitution. Oh, there's 4 other ones I can't remember off the top of my head, and I'd mispronounce them anyway. But that just showed up. I was just filming an unboxing. So as soon as 100 Yards is off the table, that or a different game, depending on if it shows, I may get Samurai Battles here soon. So I know, and I love my CNC. So we'll see. I got a feeling if that shows up, that may jump.
Every other game, just get off the table.
Yeah. I'll be like, well, I need to film the Samurai Battles, and then my boy will jump in and we'll see what he thinks about it. We know he likes spaceships. Will he like samurai?
You got to show him the highlights of, some samurai movie, either Seven Samurai or Last Samurai.
I think he would dig that because he was noticing, we've been watching a lot of The Mandalorian, and of course we're watching some of the behind the scenes stuff, and with Favreau talking about, what both the spaghetti Western and some of that, or even Lucas, the Seven Samurai. So just that feeling, I think he's kind of like, what is that, Dad? And I'm like, So we'll see. I'm pretty jazzed about that. So
yeah, that's gonna be good.
Yep, it's good. All right, well, let's see. I'm going to share the screen out.
There you go.
You've got that there, but I'm going to pop us in on this side of it, and then I'll know you'll go into presentation mode.
Yep.
And I'll watch the comments too, but if you even want to, just because I can't see in as great a detail at this, if you want to talk about David Brown and his list, I'll keep an eye on the comments.
Sure. So David Brown, this is definitely looks like a Kickstarter version list, and I've backed a lot of these. Foundations of Rome, I backed. That's a beautiful city building game, and Emerson has done a couple of my favorite lighter games, and Arcade Wonders does a lot of beautiful production as well. So
I love Emerson's a great guy too. He actually he did the artwork for the HAMTAG logo that you can see kind of peeking behind there. He did that.
Oh, nice.
So
yeah, the Great Wall is one of the ones from, I think, Awakened Realms.
Yes, I backed that myself.
I didn't back that one, but that was definitely I have my eye on it. It just you can't back everything, right? But
right.
Man, Awakened Realms, like we said, you get everything. So
yeah, they're huge, and that it's a more Eurocentric game. They had both the wooden block pieces and then beautiful miniatures,
and
it looks great. I'll be honest with you though, Tainted Grail was the first one I went all in on, and I haven't been able to play enough of it yet.
you gotta get it out of that big old container.
Yes, and then I just got the second 2.0 shipment came in, and everybody's on it, and I got a buddy that loves it, and yeah, I'm thinking retirement in 5 years. I bet you I'll have time to get this in. So
yeah. Nemesis Lockdown. This I back this one as well. This is it's been described as basically like Aliens the game.
yes.
And for me, it's half wanting to play the game, half wanting to paint it as well. So
I got a buddy at work that he backed it, and he's got like the print and play that he's been playing with his group, and he said it's got that horror element from Alien as well.
Yep.
And then it's like a limited co-op where your secret mission may be to blow the ship up or something. So you've got that everybody's suspect thing. He said it's awesome. You can't wait to get his, and he said he's going to bring it over. So I'll know.
That one should be being delivered shortly, because I think they originally projected it last month, but with everything, probably next couple months.
Yep. And Brent Johnson, my buddy, he's a painter as well. So he's like you on that.
Onk is the latest one, or one of the latest ones from Cool Mini or Not. That's Eric Lang's third in his
trilogy.
Yeah. So Blood Rage, and then whatever the samurai one is.
Yes. I'm blanking on it. It's right, but it's behind my light.
Rising Sun is
bingo.
Yeah. So that's cool. Yeah. I mean, my buddy backed it, so I might end up playing that and painting some of his stuff, because same thing.
Nice.
And then Dark Ages, I didn't know anything about this one. But if you're doing Heritage of Charlemagne, that sounds totally amazing. I mean,
and that cover artwork is beautiful.
Yeah. So, that dude Adam Kwapinski, I mean, he's got 2 of the games on this list. So, I mean, he was busy the last couple years developing those.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that was I hadn't seen that one either. So I was making little notes like, ooh, go look at this.
Yep. So that's David's list. I'm excited about all those, and those are all definitely on the Amera, trash side of the war game, which I'm in.
Totally. Great list, David. Great list.
Yeah. Rick Goudeau.
Woo.
Yeah, he's a lot of the same lines as we were. Hood Strikes North. I think I remember him mentioning it's, same thing. It's like anything they come out with that system is going to be on the list.
Yes,
for sure. Number 4, Ultimate Railroads. I don't have a ton of, Railroad / 18XX type games. So
same.
I was checking out that one. I know Hansengluk does a fantastic production. So
yeah, and Phil Hatfield in the comments, he'd also listed that Hood Strikes North and then World War III Deluxe are on his list. So that lined in with him too.
Yeah, it's one of those things, like if you know a system, whether it's that one, the Revolutionary War version, there's the other Civil War. If you know the system, getting the new one is like you find it, it's like CNC. It's just plug and play.
Yep. And Charlie Kibler does all those maps, and his work is just phenomenal.
Yeah, you could definitely, if you ever get tired of it, you could just put it in a picture frame and put it up on the wall somewhere.
Amen.
Yeah, number 3 for Rick was the Command and Colors, the expansions for Medieval, and that's right in line with you. And I'm on the same board, right? Like anything Commands and Colors is I want to get.
Yes. Completely.
So they finally changed the name and the picture on BGG for Total Dominations. Remember last week I was like, no, the picture just says Dominations, but now they finally changed it to Total Domination, the cover picture. So I know that was one of your high up there from last time.
Yeah, designer from Taiwan. I can't remember Taiwan. I just said that word. Taiwan.
Was it Chang Wei Chang or something?
I think so, something like that. And very interesting. And of course, the one thing I love about Phalanx is they listen to the fans. So on the back of the map board now, you have a more traditional map. So that'll be interesting. I'm curious to see, which one feels better, because the industrial look of the first one caught me off guard when I got it. I was like, whoa. And then as I played, I thought, it was an abstract feel of time and distance. And I was like, this actually is rather interesting. And the reason I love when designers are putting out war games, we've got Trafalgar editions, what they're doing in Spain, you'll have a feel. So I love kind of what's happening in the war game world here, where we're getting some different feels and looks and from designers.
Yeah. And even, not just the look of it, but the, it's a war game, but it plays totally different versus like the Hex Encounter. I looked more into the Total Domination, and it's, you're taking up little squares that are basically to identify like the sea or the land portion of those areas. And I'm like, man, that's just a more abstract way of playing that out. And it looks awesome.
Yeah, it's a real interesting take. And then, in order to take it, you've got to get your land forces on, and then you can start moving in other assets. And so it's it's an interesting take for sure.
Yeah. So Rick's number one, and I had to post a picture of the game because it looks amazing, is Race to Moscow. Mm-hmm. So again, Phalanx. I'm not going to try that name.
Yes.
Waldeck Gumeni.
Yep.
Sure.
Polish company.
Yeah. Waldeck, I apologize. We're talking about your game though. Man, that looks awesome. It looks like it has the card type stuff from like a Risk or, even like a Ticket to Ride. But you got the minis from like what looks like a Memoir 44. Mm-hmm. And then the board is kind of reminiscent of maybe Civil War from GMT, where it's like kind of big bubble hexes.
It's gorgeous. It's the follow-up for Race to the Rhine. So it's this, you're racing to get to the locations, but it's all about how you handle your infrastructure, your supply, and then the way it abstracts. And yes, their maps are also beautiful. I mean, and again, it's another sign. So this is a Polish company, and they've done some beautiful remakes, but then they're coming out with these different things. And I like how they test the waters. I've heard some people say, well, some of these are so different. I'm like, yeah, so they are different.
Are they, you think they're bigger now? Like Phalanx as the like Polish company to go to? Because I know a lot of time what was Ignacy's company was like the pioneer of Polish companies. He brought Polish designers to the forefront. Phalanx seems to be, I mean, obviously they're heavier games, but
yes. And well, that's what's so neat again. So you can see that Polish influence, which is just blowing up. I mean, Awakened Realms is from Poland, and they're doing Game Found. Oh yeah. They're doing Game Found. So that's going to be competing. That was a fulfillment site that helped with Kickstarter, but their latest one they did, which was on my list, and you'll see it on someone else's, the Vanguard.
Yep.
They used Game Found for the first time to directly compete with Kickstarter as a funding site, and it got 4 million. So you're going to see, in my opinion, Poland is really they're pushing the bounds everywhere, and beautiful thing, beautiful.
I'm in for that. I mean, if that's what we're getting from that neck of the world for especially war games, I mean, we could have like 3 little, Japan has like thing, Poland is now doing these like great war games that are not traditional types, and then you got the Hex Encounter type stuff that Americans do. So
and then all our Ameritrash kind of stuff. So you're getting this nice, because I'm with you exactly. Japan, again, these different takes, these different feels. And I'm hoping this whole synergy kind of keeps going. I keep waiting for like an Indian designer from India to come in with, hey, we got this thing. And I'll be, oh my gosh, that looks awesome. And so, yeah, I think we're really, you're seeing, John Krantz talked about how gaming as a whole is blowing up, but so is wargaming, and it's getting this worldly influences happening. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be exciting. I mean, by the time you retire, you could have 3 or 4 unique like war game genres. It's like, the Polish type war games, the Asian influenced ones, and then here, and then who knows where it's next. So
yeah, it's kind of like what Twilight Struggle did for GMT as well. It becomes this evergreen game selling a lot, which then reinforces their ability to do some things that maybe are a little more niche in the niche, and it's just, and then you're bringing more people in as well. Beautiful.
I think with Twilight Struggle too, like it was so universal, like across the board, it popularized CDGs, which is probably a good reason that coin is so like accessible, because people played Twilight Struggle and now know what a card can do, right?
Yeah.
So.
Right. Yeah. And coin's part of that same deal. So, you take all these, like Heavy Cardboard, great channel, by the way. What a wonderful way the ability to do that is so unbelievable. I can't remember his name. Is it Jeremy? But, these heavy strategy games. And then, of course, he'll be the first to also say, hey, look at these war games, because they're doing a similar thing. It's very mental, very crunchy, very elaborate, a lot of depth. So,
yeah, his ability to digest heavy games, because he'll do those, then he'll go to like an 18xx game.
Yes.
He's in a Splotter, Euro game. And I'm like, dude, these are all like, it'll take you 3 months to learn.
Oh my God. Yeah. I always say I'm the slowest learner, and then I got to put the game down, and then I got to play through, and then I mess stuff up. And whenever something's not working, I'm like, I know it's my fault. I know it's not the rules. I'm doing something wrong. And then of course that's the case. Yeah, and he comes in, and then to shoot it live. I mean, some of you guys have seen, I'll do these B-17 session playthroughs, and then I'm editing, and I'm like, oh my God, I skipped the whole second wave of the attack. What is going on? It's just because I'm filming and I'm this, and then the phone rings, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how he does it. Guy's a genius.
Yeah, he does good stuff. So, all right, moving on.
Yeah,
so,
sorry.
Nicholas I, or Nicholas the First here, he put the Eagle series, which are all getting reprinted this year, Hexasim or Hexasim. I will be honest, Napoleon is not my cup of tea. And I don't know anything about these games, but anytime they can bring back, especially the whole series in one shot, I'm in for that.
Right. And that's a good sign of where we're at, health-wise for wargaming.
Yeah. Next one is Malta, the invasion of Malta. I don't know a ton about this one, but it's weird. There's a lot of like games that are about the Malta invasion. I know their Victory Point games had that little solo play one that's impossible to find, and $200 for 3 kits and a map.
Yeah, the state of siege system kind of that they were. Hopefully all that's getting remade. I know there's some trepidation, but again, another good sign.
Yep. Imperial Bayonets. I heard someone mention this last week too. So this is now kind of on my radar for one to check that out. Don't know a ton about this one either. These other ones are reprints though. I know about these. France, Normandy 44, Simonich games. They're getting reprinted by GMT, and I imagine they're probably getting close to fulfilled, because I think they were last year P500. So yeah, have you played any of those ones, the France 40, Normandy 44, any of the Simonich games?
I have not.
Okay, I'm in the same boat. I haven't even bought any of those ones, because it just
now they're aren't they? Well, I know because I've played some of Simonich's games. Are these more like these grand? It's going to take you a month to play through, or I don't. Do you even know? I don't.
I don't. Normandy 44, that's generally, if you're looking at the D-Day invasions, they're generally pretty big, but
yes.
I don't know.
Yeah. I've got the longest day just because I wanted it when I was a kid. And I picked it up at one point, and I'm like, I'm never going to conceivably play this with like 2,000 counters and all the stacking. And so, all right, brother, Richard Savage. Hey, sorry, your comment came on, and good to have you on board there, Richard. Thank you.
All right, Tom D. So he had a couple of honorable mentions here. The last 100 yards, the new expansions for it, specifically Volume 3. There is zero information out there about it on BGG. So I was like, okay, I have last 100 yards. It hasn't hit the table yet just because it came in the same time as something else. And
yeah,
Storm Above the Reich. I know that's the version of Skies Above the Reich, right?
Yep. This will include the FW 190s, and now you'll have B-24 flights going out as well.
So there was a new one, and this is only working title, so there's like less than zero information about it, called Sensukan, which is like a Japanese game, and that's like the working title. There is less than zero information, but he put it on there. I wanted to let people know about it. If that's just their working title, I imagine Encompass is not fast. So I imagine that might be closer to 2022. But yeah, jumping into the games, I know some of these. Unconditional Surrender, the expansion, the Western campaign. That one is, I think, just at about 500, if I remember right.
Okay.
Some game, Pacific War. I'm sure nobody's heard of that one.
Yeah, people are going nuts. That is Mark Herman. See, I'm going to believe Judd here again that he's got that the superpower, the Chuck Norris super, because he tells people, don't get this. This is going to be huge. This is still, all the counters. This is an endeavor you may not want to take on. Boom, 2,000 pre-orders. I mean, it just blows up.
I think one of the biggest ones is, it was out of print for 40 years or something.
Yeah. And, I've got it sitting over here and I've never tackled it.
So yeah, if you're a gamer like me, where, getting into the really heavy ones, I'm like, man, I don't have the time to play a, 12-hour war game now. But I was like, man, I might in the next 40 years. So maybe I just want to get it. I think that was a big aspect of it too, is people like, I can't play it now, but maybe in 5 years I can play it.
Yeah. So, and all the modern printing, stuff that's just going to be amazing. Real quick. Let's see. We've got France 40 and Normandy 44 are both excellent. And then Derblau Klaus says France 40 is playable in 3 hours. So there you go. That answers.
Okay. That's medium war game. I'm okay with that.
Yep.
So the reprint for Fire in the Sky, that should be coming out soon from Tetsuya Nakamura. I have the original one, and I am jazzed about seeing what they did with new stuff. So,
and the cover on the original one is just that simplistic beauty.
Oh yeah, I got it right here. Yeah, the original cover right there.
Yep.
Even the new cover, I like the new cover. That's beautiful too. I mean, it's not stoic and simple like the original, but man. Number 2, Skies Above Britain. That's kind of your forte, is that whole air war over during World War II, right?
Yeah, and I can't remember her name, female designer, but what she did was. Yeah, she loved the Skies Above the Reich and Storms Above the Reich that was coming out. Of course, she hasn't played that yet, but she apparently it's that type of system with the Battle of Britain. So very intriguing. That popped up. This is just some place marker art here, but that's gotten really exciting because what Skies Above the Reich, and I know what Storms is going to do as well, is what it creates is your play field is that bomber box. And how are you going to, you're running a Stoffel, whether it's BF 109s or FW 190s. I think they've worked in some 110s, but it's all about how are you going to to hit this box and what the defensive fire coming out of that was. And then how do you loop back and come in at another angle and all this? So, yeah, it's very interesting because it creates that 3D play space very well.
I would definitely want to check that one out. I don't have a ton of stuff on, the air, battlefield. But I want to. My grandfather was a World War II pilot, and he was in a Catalina posted out in the Caribbean. So,
wow,
not over in Europe where you got all the action, but I just hearing some of the stories about some of the things that he flew. I'm definitely intrigued with it. So
yeah, what were they doing? Just looking for U-boats and stuff, or?
Yeah, a lot of it was looking for U-boats, protecting that side of the coast, and then escorting transports. So, yeah, a lot of escort missions for sure.
Awesome.
And Catalina's a funny plane. I mean, you water takeoff and landing. So
yes.
But yeah, number one here is the Carrier Battle Philippine Sea. I didn't know anything about this, and I'm looking into it. Looks cool. I mean, I don't have a ton of things for, especially specifically for, Philippine Sea. So
love it. And Magnus loves your Japanese pronunciation.
Oh, cool. I spent all the last 2 weeks working on that.
Almost, hold on. He says almost as good as Bart's Swedish.
Speaking of Swedish, Magnus, you don't happen to want to take Eric Carlson back from the Sharks, do you? Because he's awful. Sorry, I'm not using my Sharks mug just because I'm in protest for them.
Understandable.
Paying him too much. Yeah, you noticed how I kind of glossed over the Polish names because I don't feel as confident with that one.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's uncharted land for me.
I know. All right, let's get back to it.
Roger.
All right. I don't know. Przemek Bozek.
Nailed it.
Sweet. So, you just gave us 3, and I'm totally in. Barbarian at the Gates. I've heard about this one. Checked it out. It looked cool. I don't have a ton of Barbarian games. I think only Barbarian, other than the coin stuff, is like Pandemic Rome.
Right.
So
that's a fun one too. I actually really enjoyed that version of Pandemic.
I think it's the only one I have, other than I have Legacy Season 0 that I was going to play with the kids still. So
I picked up Season 0. I still can't get them to. My family started on Season 1, and they couldn't. My wife doesn't really enjoy story games as much, so
yeah. Send her back to Dallas to get stuck in snow, and then you can play.
That's right. That's right. She's flying to Puerto Rico via Dallas and gets stuck in an ice storm. I was like, that never happens.
I got stuck in New York one time, and New York's not the airport. Kennedy is not in the best neck of the woods. So, yeah, cool. So number 2, and there's a ton of buzz about this one, is Hubris. Morgan did one of the coin games, actually one of my favorite ones, the Pendragon one. And I know Hubris has kind of been in the works for a number of years. I've heard about it. So
now this one I don't know as much about. And if that's the cover, that's a gorgeous, striking cover. Is it just placeholder?
So this is, so this is 2 pictures, because I thought I was going to forget this. The cover is just that black photo of the statue.
Really?
And I need to put something on here so people know what the heck it is.
Huh.
So this may be the front cover, and this may be like the side. So yeah, it's if that's what they're going with, is just that stark cover, I'm totally in. That's eye-popping for sure, but I don't think it gives any information. So
love it, but I don't know much about it, so kind of fill me in. I
don't know a ton about it. I think it's just she's done a lot of it is around that like Roman Britain era. That's kind of where she stayed with the last couple games. So I imagine it's probably in that same era, Rome, Britain, kind of near the end of Rome. I don't know a ton about it. I just know that when I've gone to conventions, people have been talking about like, hey, this is coming. And I'm like, hey, you don't really forget Hubris. It's not like, hey, it's an Ardennes game. I was like, okay, great.
Yeah.
Hubris is the name catches for sure.
Definitely.
And then last is Seas of Thunder. I think this is this the next one in that like submarine warfare thing? I don't know anything about this one.
Yeah, I don't either. Maybe somebody on the side.
Dang it. Yeah, I don't really own any sub games.
You know, I've never been as much into the sub side of things, but then I had Gregory Smith on the show, and of course, you know, he's got the Hunters, then Hunted, and his other ones, and so he ended up sending them to me because he said, I know you love B-17, and that's where I borrowed this process from. I'm like, I'll get in. So, but yeah, I need to get in and try that.
Nice. Oh, let me share it. All right, this is a lot of the same lines as I think we were at. Cliff's list here is Perseverance Castaway Chronicles. I don't know anything about this one. It looks more like an adventure story type game. So
right. Yeah. And with Car Wars being next, it definitely could be. I didn't know anything about that one as well.
Yeah. Car Wars I've never played. I've heard about it forever. I know it's from, like 1980. It's Steve Jackson's original design, right? It's like this and Munchkin are the
yes,
his Settlers of Catan.
Right. And Ogre. So, you throw Ogre in the mix there as well.
Yeah. So number 2 here is Gates of Valhalla. That looks like a huge Kickstarter mini thing. I missed this one. I didn't know anything about it.
Same.
So it's in the Shadows of Brimstone world. So, and I know that was kind of, I guess like an adventure dungeon crawl type thing.
Yeah. So really, so it's like that. Yeah. Because where they did that awesome was they allowed you to, my buddy loves that, my painter buddy again, because you go through gates and you might end up now in samurai history or I think Vikings is one that's getting ready to come out. So it's these portals that drop you into these different worlds, and then it's a kind of the occult kind of thing, Cthulhu type-ish kind of stuff.
That's cool. I'm in with that. I mean, that's a lot of different styles of painting for minis if you're doing that. But
he loves it too. Yeah, because the opening one with Shadows of Brimstone was all the Western, stuff.
Oh, nice.
So, but
cool. And then number 1 is some little game called Isis. I
don't, as far as geeking out, the giant binder that is your ship book, that alone I was like, I love this. I could see this is where people from the outside looking in going, wow, these guys are weird. How are they into, it's a giant binder. It looks like, actually looks like when I was a rookie, that was our policy and procedural manual, looked like the ASL binder, which is what that looks like. And the excitement of sleeves and a sick bay where your guys or gals are getting better and the upgrades. And I was like, woo, I was just fired up.
Yeah. I had Tales of the Arabian Night, and it reminded me of that with that huge book of just stuff. So
yes. Yeah.
With it. Cool. Gunther.
Ooh.
He's got one I think the majority of us have on our list is the solo system that GMT's putting out from Stuka Joe. And I know Stuka Joe has some folks helping him with it, but that's kind of his system he put together. Yeah, man. Who's the other one on there? Ken Kuhn.
Got it. And what was exciting with that was, Judd had told me about that, mentioned it a couple times. I kept thinking, well, I need to go watch his video on that. And then, what again is nice is they put it up on their P500 and it just blows up.
Well, and like $10 or something, $15. They were like barely charging anything for the ability to play all these games solo.
Yeah.
It's basically like, hey, I want to give GMT money for them to do this.
Yeah, and to show, I've been trying to get. I can't remember his full name. I think his last name is Carr. He's taken over their solo division. I can't remember. They call it like One or something. I forget. It's got a catchy name. And I was trying to reach out, but they've been so busy even putting stuff out. I was talking to Tony Curtis saying, "Hey, I'd love to have him come on as a live, because the idea of what are they doing, and then the way this hits and blows up from Stuka Joe, and Academy Games did their solo system that Gunter Eichert came up with there, and so there's some interesting stuff. I love gaming with people, but my wife says I'm a loner that likes people, so I like my solitaire sometimes too.
Yeah, I think this is kind of the biggest, especially in the war game world. This is the biggest indication of people voting with their money, voting for Stuka Joe and for GMT. It's like, they just, hey, can we, send money to Stuka Joe and GMT? It's like, yeah, for sure.
Yes, I agree.
So number 4 here for Gunther is the Fields of Fire, the Bulge campaign. If I remember right, this is also right at about 500 for the GMT P500. So I imagine this will be coming out later this year or early next year, depending on how much content is in there.
Man, and they're so stacked with all their stuff coming. When they do the updates, it's just like, wow.
Yep. Number 3, here's the Normandy 44 again, then Unconditional Surrender. Again, this is missed my collection for a little bit there. And then number 1, I think we've seen is some game that people were told not to play.
Right. We're picking up a little buzz. Are you getting it? Oh, there it's gone.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these reprints, I think, are the high in demand ones, so no surprise. All right.
Totally.
What do we got next here? All right. Agray Day. First off, Agray Day.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good name. So
it is catchy.
Most of these I'd never heard of. So
I agree.
Iron Sworn is RPG. I'm not an RPGer, so it looked cool. I couldn't really find a ton of like pictures to put on there unless I was doing 30 pictures. So
right,
I'm cool with that. Stargrave is another like science fiction war game. I don't know if it's RPG or not. It kind of looked like it.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, and I'm in with this one. Clash of Cultures. I have the original one somewhere, and the expansion. I know the expansion was, the game you could find for like $50. The expansion was like 150 because it was. So yeah, I'd love to see what WizKids is doing with it. WizKids has really kind of turned a corner the last couple of years, so that'd be cool. You ever play that, Chief? You ever play
I don't think I did. I don't think I played it back in the day. And WizKids has such a library that they can reach back into, and with the growth, that's probably my biggest thing is I'm hopeful that, they could literally put out unbelievable games. So
yeah, for a long time I'm trying to find the original because I forget who did the original one. Z-Man was the original one, which that actually makes sense because I think Zev went over to WizKids once he sold Z-Man, if I remember right.
Yep, he did. And that was the cool thing with Z-Man Games was he was taking all kinds of submissions and now a lot of the designers had to do development work, but the way he was throwing them out the door, and then he starts getting these evergreen hits and just boom, 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 boom. And it was just like, wow, that was a fun time gaming wise to see what he was doing.
Yeah. Yep. So that should be, I think that's coming. I think they were trying to do like not Essen, the convention season over the summer. So I imagine it'll be late summer.
Got it.
Number 2 is the latest Conan. I think it's basically just they redid Conan again, designed by everybody who's in Europe, apparently. Yeah, that'd be cool if they, kind of streamline the system, because I know Conan is similar to the Batman game where it's kind of cumbersome.
Well, see, and I have, what's the name of the company again? Because I backed that original Conan.
That Monolith?
Yes, that is it. Monolith did it, and they had what they call the river or whatever, which is the enemies take their actions and all this, you can do this thing here or pay a little more to do this. And I was hopeful that my son would enjoy it because he actually likes that role-playing-esque kind of feel. And then you got dudes on a map. Their maps are gorgeous. And I enjoyed it so much. I even had not backed one of the like expansion boxes, and I went out and got it after it had fulfilled because I was like, I love the feel of this. And they're out of France, and so they did not steer away. Well, they're French, first of all, so they didn't steer away from the comic book. It's violent and it's over sexualized, and they were like, we this is what we do, so they had like no shame, and I was like, I kind of like that too. So
well, I don't know if these guys were in the original one, but like Antoine Boza, Bruno Cathala, these guys put out fantastic games, so hopefully it's a hit for sure. I know it made a truckload of money because it has Conan minis, but yeah, it'd be awesome.
Yeah. I know I had a hard time. It was like, that was when I felt like I had the addiction, which I almost went all in on the Batman stuff, but I did all the, trying to remember the Greek, they had the Greek stuff that I went all in on as well, right after Conan. I can't remember what it is, but it's because it's all the Greek mythology. And then they had a few issues and there was some fix packs and stuff, but yeah, I had to like, stay off the internet for a while when Batman was on there.
I got the Batman one, which is cool. They talked about they're going to simplify the system because it's too cumbersome, but whatever.
Got it.
Number one here is the Last Stand of the Moors, Granada. I don't know a ton about this one. It looks like Crusade era, if I remember right. So that should be cool. Compass Games does good stuff.
Yeah, and I went and looked that one up just to because it looks so different. I went and kind of just perused it a little bit.
How do you like that cover? Do you like that cover? Because I think it's awesome.
Yeah, well, it drew my, the oranges and obviously you're dealing with, I think what drew me in was you're dealing with that Muslim conflict that's going on. So it drew me in, but then at the same time, it kind of harkens back to some of the artwork of old. It's not all like jazzed up. So it was kind of, it was different, but it definitely drew me in where I went and searched more on it. So it worked.
Yeah, the cover reminded me of Saladin, which I was talking about last time, is that,
right.
Almost, I don't want to say painting style, but it looks a different era for sure.
Right. I agree.
Yeah, and then I found out Saladin is actually going to Kickstarter this month, I think. So,
wow. Okay.
Depending on how far along they are with the design for it, that may come out later this year or early next year.
Beautiful.
All right, and we're back. All right. I put Beef Cafe. Well, Beat Cafe. Sorry, same thing. Probably getting ready for dinner, and beets are not on the menu. All right, War in America. This is on my list of on my radar. Gilbert Collins. I've enjoyed his work so far. I'm trying to remember I have one or two of his games. I can't remember which one, but beautiful map. Again, Compass. So I imagine it's going to be similar to most other Compass games. Hill of Doves. Godfrey Bailey. I don't know a ton about this one.
Right. Interesting name.
Anglo-Boer War, 1880, 1881. All right. Someone fill me in. That's from Legion. So that'd be cool.
Yeah, these were interesting. I think the only one I knew a little bit about is the Polish mailmen, which I know you're getting to.
Yeah. So the other two are the Victory or Death, and then the Atlanta Campaign, Revolutionary War and Civil War, respectively. So those are from L&L, Lock and Load. definitely on the radar. I mean, anything, American Revolution or Civil War is going to be, I at least want to try it out. And then Soldier and Postman's Uniform is the third in David Thompson's, I'm going to pick the most random thing possible and make a solo game out of it. It did what? Pavlov's House and what's the other one?
See, all I remember is Pavlov's House.
Yeah, he did that one, Postman Uniform, and something else. Maybe he just kickstarted the other one. That's why I know about it. But
one is the box covers. I don't know if he picks the artwork or whatever, but they're always very unique. And then that game board there was actually very intriguing to me. Castle Itter,
that's the third one.
Got it.
So Castle Itter, Soldier and Postman, and Pavlov's House. And man, I was gonna ask, out of all the young designers, right? There's the old guard, Mark Herman, Richard Berg, Richard Borg, Simich, all these guys, David Thompson and who else are the younger designers that, if you see their name on it, you're like, oh, I definitely at least want to check it out. That's a very interesting point. Yeah. Someone has to tell me in the chat who are some of the younger ones that you guys look forward to. Because, obviously if, Mark Herman does a new game, because he's coming up with a new one with Jeff Engelstein. He's doing another one. They did Imperial Struggle was there. So they're doing a sequel. I don't know if it's a sequel to that, but they're doing another game. Yeah, I saw that, and I can't remember what they're doing either. Because then, who are the guys that are working on the one on Mars, the coin game on Mars? That what I don't know. Because that I talked about they need to do coin in space, and I pictured it as the Star Wars, but now you got a whole license. You got the Rebels, and maybe you got the Hutts, or and then of course the Empire. But this Mars thing looks interesting as well, and I don't know that there's not as much love in the folks I play with now for the coin series, but when I was going to the, Greg Schmidtkins is awesome with the coin, on HAMTAG and everything. So, but yeah, there's, again, we're living in good times. Yeah. It's fun because, they keep coming out with coin. I actually don't have the newest one. I think it's All Bridges Burning. I haven't got that one yet. It was on my radar, and I just never pulled the trigger on it. I was like, oh, I'll get it in a bit. So, if they can go into space, that'd be awesome. Uh-oh, what happened? Oh, I'm laughing at Jeffrey here. He just got so Jeffrey says, I'm having trouble getting wrapped around, quote, younger and war game designer in the same sentence. He just got me chuckling because, again, that's a sign of the times. But, I mean, you're right. That's almost I would need to do research, but that could even be a future show. Well, if you look at the 70s and 80s, and Matt was talking about this, right? All those guys that were around during the Victory Games, SPI era, and they all still design, right? But who's in their 20s, 30s, and maybe even 40s now that designs? Obviously, most people are going to be designing on a part-time basis, right? Yes. I would almost say Tom Russell would be one of them. Okay. Right? Because he's probably in his 30s, maybe 40s. And he's come out with some, weird little war game designs. So I don't know. That was just that's about the other day. That is interesting because that's a very nice sign for the future as well. And then I'm sure we'd have to look at we were talking about the Polish and Asian designers who, maybe in their 30s as well. And it's just oh, well, they're doing different types of war games. That's awesome. Yeah. And Ching, I don't know how old Ching is. There's a photo of him. I think he was in the Taiwanese military. If I remember, I thought I saw a photo of him at some point in time, but I don't know how old he is, but I mean, that's an interesting, depth that's going on because, even Mark Herman talks about, his day job was where he made all his money. He's working for what was a Booz Hamilton or yeah. And,
he was designing games because he enjoyed it and loves it, and that's his hobby. So,
well, those three guys are kind of this similar with that. Like, I know Mark Herman was with Booz, where he was like advising the government on, how to be smart. I know Volko Ruhnke does something similar where he's,
CIA.
Yeah, a undercover CIA agent. He's American James Bond. And David Thompson does something similar too. I think he like advises the government on how to do stuff better. So
well, and you look at Jim Dunnigan, all the strategy and tactics and all his work, and again, that was in the heyday, and then his authorship, and then he starts working for, I think it was like a Wall Street think tank, looking at what's going on in India, and he had all those contacts and knowledge base.
On a side note, Volko he taught a class where he went on and he was talking about like the differences of war games and how CDGs and how they incorporate, and I think it was for like a class of how to do war game stuff, but it's on YouTube, and I was watching that because hearing him explain it to people who I imagine are in the video game world or don't really game at all, and hearing him explain it, I'm just like, whoa. So that's definitely worth investing.
In Wichita here, we had I don't know how big they were, but it was called Mindfire, I think, but they were a video game design studio. I don't know if they were coders working in the background or whatever, but one of the first things, I was talking to somebody that ran it there, and they said one of the first things they do with their design teams is make them create a game, but it's got to be a board game that they can actually put together, and it's real, like, piece of paper and dice or whatever, but they've got to make it and then functional, and then they all play it. And then they say, you've got to get the gameplay right before you get into the coding. So, but it was a neat aspect even from them that it's got to be a game that works, and maybe the physical aspect's the way to start, and then to turn it into, it's kind of like the carrier battles, Guadalcanal Carrier, I'm forgetting the full title, but the iOS release is Carrier from Victory Games, and it's just awesome.
Yeah, I know Scott Nicholson did that. He went from board game design and teaching to I think he moved up to Canada, if I remember right. He did like Syracuse to Canada, and he's teaching. It's more of the like escape room games, but he's teaching that like logic and putting that together. And for anybody who doesn't know, Scott Nicholson was like the original YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah. It was like him and Tom basically started about the same time. So
yeah, and I think he started the first videos really because Tom was writing all the reviews kind of early, and then he thought, man, I can't keep up. Maybe I can just film it.
If you want to have a laugh, go look up Scott Nicholson's Agricola intro. It's hilarious.
Well, then he does his Blue Moon. When he does Blue Moon City, he's got the Blue Man face stuff on too, which is hilarious.
And his little Kalis thing. It's worth it for sure. It's like board game comedy.
Yes, it was perfect.
All right, so rounding this out, so we got a couple of folks who just put the like one game they were looking forward to. So Jim did the Flanks of Gettysburg. Again, if it's on the Civil War, I'm interested in checking it out for sure. I prefer if it's a system, because then, if I'm doing like Little Round Top, then I can go to, whatever's next, right?
Right.
Sub Commandante, your buddy, he's looking for the reprint of Gravwell. Now, did you ever play the original one? I had heard of it. I never played it.
Yeah, just heard of it. Haven't. When he put this up, I was like, whoa, really?
And then Forrest, our dude, he's looking for the Halls of Montezuma. This is from the same people who did the Shores of Tripoli.
Yes, and Four Circle, I think's the company, isn't that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, And as soon as I saw that, I thought, bam, why wasn't I thinking of that as well? Because I guess I didn't know when it was coming out, but the love for history there and then those tie-ins. Yeah. And CDG, I'm assuming if it's like the Tripoli and it plays quick and it led me to go get Thomas Jefferson book on the Barbary Pirates as well. And of course that's the Constitution and the Constellation and all that. It was an awesome book.
Nice. Yeah. So those are what people are looking forward to. So yeah. What do you got on that?
I'll come back here. All right. Let's see. People were curious asking where Vorpal is. Somebody needs to come in and call me ugly just so I feel like I'm complete. That's good. And Kabuki, I know Kabuki's been doing a lot of stuff, so she may not have been able to work it in. So once again, I want to say thanks for coming on. And just the list from the fans is a big enjoyable part for me, especially when we do this, because I was looking through their list saying, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably another 10 or 15 games that are at least on my radar, right, that I want to check out. And it really has to do with a lot of them are Kickstarters, so it's missed the chance to buy them. But these ones from GMT, Compass, Legion, L&L, like I'm in. That'd be cool. Oh yeah,
yeah. Again, and good times. I'm working on, I just the joy of it. I put out that Chiefs vlog where it was about the people and enjoying gaming. And then literally Seth, my youngest son, usually won't even come down, or he maybe wants to go over and play on the Xbox or something. But he walks over, he's like, and he wanted to be on the show. But it's really, to me, and I know what you do with your kids as well, that coming together, my son, how he loved Red Alert and then wanted to play another one right away. And how it, hopefully we're coming out of the pandemic a little bit. I know it's summer and things will drop, but the vaccinations are all looking good and everything else. So, I just, I love just the gaming aspect. And something I forgot, I thought it might've been in a late list that just showed up too. Hitler's Reich there's a spinoff one.
It just got defunded.
Oh no, what happened? Are you kidding me?
You said the title.
I did. Yeah, I should have said the guy with the Charlie Chaplin mustache. Da 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 da.
Robert Downey Jr.'s Reich.
Yes, right. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that part. Sorry. Yeah, I was like, what? Yeah, I know. Someone now but I can't remember. There's there's a game that's on that same deal that plays well together, and your cards are coming in, and it's on like Rome or something. I can't remember. Do you know? I can't. If somebody knows, put it in the comments. Maybe it is I think it's a GMT. They just put it up on their P500. That's where I saw it.
Oh yeah, I know. They just sent out I think last week, right? The newsletter. So talking about what new, what got pushed forward. So
yep, I can't remember the name of it, but immediately, because what I love is like
right.
Huh?
It was Caligula's Reich.
There you go. That would be good. Yes.
Close.
But like Atlantic Storm, it's a trick-taking card game, but it's just layers in the wolf packs coming in, but then you might be defending your shipping convoys, and it just plays so well with a group of people coming over. So I love that.
Kabuki's not here. What kind of pack was that?
I was sorry. Yeah, I said wolf, didn't I? Yeah, I know. My co-host on the whiskey show is always like, you say that wrong. I'm like, yeah, it's endearing.
The Colorado accent.
Right. I know. It's like Tom, how he says donkey instead of donkey or something. And somebody got on him.
I know he says architect wrong because he calls it architect.
Oh, got it. Yeah. Well, I'll do two things that are bad. I tend to fall in and call cavalry. Yeah.
I think it's that.
Yeah. And I'll get trash for that. And then definitely wolf instead of wolf.
Yeah. My wife's is the number one word. She'll be like, look, I need to be very Pacific about this. This is what I need to do. I'm like, what? Can we be Atlantic about it? Like, why do we be West Coast?
What about Mediterranean?
All right. Like, how about the Indian Sea, right? Like, so yeah. So cool. I know you were doing an interview, and we talked about it a little bit, that you're getting lined up to release pretty soon. So
yeah,
cool.
Lou Zocchi came on. We couldn't get he didn't have the video ability, but Richard Berg, I had a shot to interview him, but he didn't have a smartphone or anything, and I was like, well, I don't know how I would do this. And because Mark Herman was like, you got to get Berg on. And I was like, I would love to. And he said, he's not real tech up, and he didn't have a good connection and everything. And I don't know what I was thinking. I should have just did the same thing that I did with Lou, which is we're going to put you on speakerphone and you're going to talk and you're going to say cool stuff about, the days of yore kind of thing. And I missed it. Ron says, sorry, I talked over you.
No, it's okay. You should get Richard Borg on. That'd be cool.
I would love to. Actually, I was thinking about reaching out to him as well. I've heard he doesn't go on a lot of stuff, but I got to try. For the folks that know about my Avalon Hill stuff, where that's where I've been trying to get all these folks on. That's where Lou's came on. Is Tom Shaw told me, hey, get a hold of Lou. Here's his number. And then Tom kept saying, hey, you got to get Don Greenwood on. I'm like, I know, but I'm afraid. I kind of didn't want to ask him when I was in the early stages because you can't even look at anything I'm doing. Who am I?
You look like an amateur.
Oh yeah, and it's still, the YouTube thing is kind of the amateur thing anyway.
Yeah.
And I told Tom I want to have enough of these networked together, knitted together, that he can look at it and see it's really just me getting these voices out. And so Tom, after about 2 months, he got a hold of me and said, "Here's Don's number. Just text him and see what he says." And I told him, I said, I'm nervous because if it's not an immediate yes, it'll be a simple no. And that's all. And sure enough, I finally sent it. I think I got no thanks. That was all. And I was like, oh, I missed it. I know.
Yeah, I would love to see, Borg, and I'd love to see Roger B. McGowan. That'd be cool.
Yes. I think I've got to reach out to Roger. When they got a hold of me for the C3I magazine games with Gettysburg and Waterloo, and then the 2 magazines, I would love to. Exactly. So after I was working Lou, and then we finally got that done. I got to get part 1 is done. It'll probably come out later today. I got to get it loaded, and then I've got to edit. These take a long time to edit because I'm throwing in photos and stuff. But Roger B. McGowan would be awesome, and I want to keep those going. Those are they're a lot of work. It's not like they get a ton of views, but I love it, and I feel like it's like this time capsule all at the same time.
It's definitely a snapshot in history, kind of like what Matt did a couple of weeks ago, where it's now out there. Anybody who wants to know about like the softball game or what was going on in those original conventions, the information is getting out.
Yes.
The people who know about it aren't going to be around in 50, 60 years. So younger viewers want to know.
Yep. And Lou's great because he's talking about he gets into some of he was an Air Force traffic controller over in Japan, so we get a little touch of that. He was talking to Tom Shaw, who said, hey, I'll give you a lifetime subscription to the General if you want to be one of the editors for a particular area, wherever he was in the Air Force. And so I've got a little snapshot of his photo and the first thing he writes up. And so, seeing that, that forefront is, it's just fun. And then, Lou's just a funny, energetic guy. And he gets into some of his dice, because under game science, he made all these dice for all the Dungeons and Dragons and the TSR. And he talks a little bit about Gygax and then Dave Arneson, I think, which was the one they got in the lawsuit over who designed. And some of it I can't even remember because we did like an hour and a half. And then an hour later, he calls me back and says, I wanted to list all these other things under this topic. And I said, well, I don't know how, I can't get it in now. So, but
together.
Yeah, I might do a list. He has this cool thing where when he was looking for war gamers or board gamers, I think in general, he knew that if he could go to he said 95% of board gamers have played chess. Maybe not chess masters, but they've played chess. So he has all these percentages, typical war game style. Like if you've played polo, I'm making this up, that you got a 10% chance that you're a board gamer,
Never
he had
played.
it all broke down. So, but yeah, it was just fun interview. So I'll get that. The part 1 will come up, and then it'll probably take me another week doing it part-time to get part 2 edited and up. So
Sweet.
yeah, that'll be fun. So again, thanks for coming on. I'll let you get to the family. I can hear grandkids upstairs. So thanks for everybody for tuning in, and good stuff. So hang on the line, Trevor, and we'll end this out. Couple clips.